day, beautiful people, and welcome back to my podcast, Life Treasures and Golden Moments. This is Natalie Silva. It is always a joy to have you join me in looking for the treasures and the golden moments in our life journey. And it is my hope and my purpose that the stories I share during our times together will lift your spirits and give you food for thought, touching your lives in a positive way. I would like to extend a special thanks to all our many authors out there who have written and shared their stories that we may benefit from their insights and from their experiences. Today, I would like to talk about and share some insights and stories about perseverance in life. So what is the definition of perseverance? Well, it's in doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. You hear them say, hang in there. It's more than an expression of encouragement to someone experiencing hardship or difficulty. It's a sound advice for anyone intent on doing good in the world, whether by leading or prodding others, or improving oneself, or contributing in the thick of things to some larger cause. Perseverance is often crucial to success. Harry Truman drew from an ancient Chinese proverb when he did his memoirs. And he says this, that being a president is like riding a tiger. A man has to keep on riding or be swallowed. He went on to explain that a president either is constantly on top of events, or if he hesitates, events will soon be on top of him. He said he never felt that he could let up for a single moment. Perseverance is an essential quality of character in high-level leadership. Much good that might have been achieved in this world is lost through hesitation, faltering, wavering, vacillating, or just not sticking with it. So you ask, how do we encourage our children to persevere? To persist in their efforts to improve themselves, their own lot, and the lot of others. How we do that is by standing by them and with them and by them, by being coaches and cheerleaders, and by the witness of our own example. Our first author today is Tony Carranza, and he's written some wonderful stories, and I'm going to read and share two of them with you today. Tony writes, one of the crucial success lessons is about standing up every time life bashes you around. You might already know about the rhetoric. In fact, you might hear it so many times you become numb to the lessons of perseverance. It's very true that the majority of people never get handouts in life. For most, it's just another dogfight day to day. It revolves around countless failures and small wins. It gets you down more times than you feel elated. I'm right there with you, hustling, struggling, and pushing through. I won't starve to death anytime soon, and it took me a long time to get here, longer than I ever anticipated. When I was 16, I strongly believed I'll succeed in anything I focus my mind on. I thought I had the master key to the universe. I had an idea that if I work hard and had clear goals, I'll somehow make it. Then I turned 18. And first failed endeavors crept from behind. Have you ever found yourself refusing to leave your apartment because you were ashamed? I know I was. Do you know the feeling of bringing movies and TV shows indefinitely just to escape facing what happened with your last business? Well, I didn't even change my clothes on those days. The feeling of walls caving in on Friday afternoon, anyone? Huh? It still happens more times than I'd like to admit. There is no success if you don't get up after every lost battle. But getting up is not an easy task. You can't just say, let's go, and you're miraculously starting another startup. On most down days, it feels impossible to continue. Why should you bother anyway when you're such a failure? He continues to write. This is a story about Howard Schultz, chairman of Starbucks. Schultz grew up in New York City in a housing project. His early options were limited, and he could hardly dream about starting an international business. Chairman of Starbucks wrote in his autobiography, "Pour your heart into it." Then he was raised in a working-class family where his father worked blue-collar jobs and his mother took care of the house. In 1961, the whole family was left with no income because his father broke an ankle working as a truck driver. Watching his father laying on the couch with his leg in a cast, Schultz decided to do something different in life. His father never attained fulfillment and dignity from work he found meaningful. Schultz played football in high school and managed to secure an athletic scholarship to Northern Michigan University. He became the first college graduate in his family. Schultz's first job after finishing school was in sales at the Xerox company, where he was supposed to cold call and pitch word processors. Then he took another job in sales at Hammerplast, at Housewares business. He wasn't satisfied with any of these positions, and he grew kind of antsy. So Schultz first encountered Starbucks when he was still working for Hammerplast. He was struck by the passion of the founders, Gerald Baldwin and Gordon Bolker, and their courage in selling the product that would appeal only to a specific niche of coffee enthusiasts. It took a whole year for Schultz to persuade Baldwin and Bolker to hire him as the head of marketing. The new position meant that Schultz is going to travel around the world and represent Starbucks. His fate changed when the company sent him to an international housewares exhibition in Milan. Schultz had an epiphany when he saw an Italian espresso tradition. The people in Italy had a personal relationship with coffee. Schultz came back to America with new ideas. He wanted to replicate Italian tradition in Starbucks. The founders felt differently. He then decided to leave Starbucks to start his own coffee company, Gournate. The new company caught on quickly. Eventually, Gournate managed to buy Starbucks. Schultz became the CEO of Starbucks Corporation, and he is now the wealthiest of people on the planet. His net worth is $3.6 billion, according to Forbes. The next story is about Colonel Sanders, who was the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken. We all know what that one is, don't we? Sanders was born in 1890 in Henryville, Indiana. His father died when he was 6 years old, leaving Sanders to take care of his siblings. He dropped out of school and left home to work on a farm. At 16, he faked his age and enlisted in the U.S. States Army. He was honorably discharged a year later and started working as a manual laborer at the railroads. His temperament got the best of him when he lost his job due to fights with other colleagues. He also tried to study law, but his career was ruined by the constant fights he was getting into. Eventually, Sanders was forced to move back with his mother. He found another job selling life insurance, but was soon let go over his insubordination. He founded a ferryboat company that didn't catch on. He also tried to cash that company to start the lamp manufacturing company. Unfortunately, he was run over by a competitor selling a better version of his lamp. It wasn't until he turned 40 years old that he first started selling chicken at the gas station. His business turned to a violent brawl with a competitor and ended in a deadly shootout. Years later, Sanders bought a motel, which burned to the ground along with his restaurant. He was determined to succeed, and he bought another motel, but he was forced to close it down in the midst of World War II. I was 66 years old. I still had to make a living. I looked at my Social Security check of $105 and decided to use that to try to franchise my chicken. After the war, Sanders tried to establish his fried chicken recipe on the market. He was rejected 1,009 times before anyone took a second look at his Kentucky Fried Chicken. He pursued his dream to franchise Kentucky Fried Chicken across the country. It took him years of failures and misfortunes to build his Kentucky Fried Chicken brand, but eventually he hit the jackpot. Sanders sold his business for $2 million. Sanders lived to see his restaurant become a global success. In 2013, there were an estimated 18,000 Kentucky Fried Chicken locations in 118 countries. Now, for you listeners that like sports, I have 3 stories I want to share with you about success and perseverance that I think that you will enjoy. The first one was written by Joshua Wolf. He's the author. And it's about a one-handed player. Shaquem Griffin's story is one of determination, perseverance, and love. And I imagine most of you guys would know who this guy is, but this story was written in December of 2018. When watching a NFL football game, most fans look for things like stats, big plays, and exciting endings. They don't necessarily pay attention to the individual players, but one player specifically is in the spotlight this NFL season. Shaquem Griffin. Griffin is a rookie linebacker out of the University of Central Florida, and he has all the qualities to become a very successful football player, except for one major setback. He only has one hand. Griffin lost his left hand at the age of 4, but he hasn't let that slow him down whatsoever. Griffin suffered from an amniotic band syndrome, which occurs when parts of the fetus become entangled in the amniotic sac. In Griffin's case, the amniotic strands wrapped around his left wrist, which altered the development of his hand. This led to the amputation of the hand at the age of 4. But that didn't stop Griffin from pursuing his dream of playing football. He became a standout player at Lakewood High School in St. Petersburg, Florida, where he and his twin brother, Shaquem, were rewarded with scholarships to play at UCF. In fact, Shaquem turned down a scholarship to play for the University of Miami, his dream school, so that he could play on the same team as his brother. Shaquem went right in to compete for a starting spot, but his brother had to be more patient, sitting his freshman season to elongate his years of eligibility. During his second season as a redshirt freshman, he started the season as a second-string linebacker, but soon moved to the third string and then finally moved down to the second team. But things changed when UCF head coach George O'Leary was offered the Griffin brothers their scholarships. He was fired after the brothers' first 2 years and replaced with Scott Frost. Griffin credits his rise in the system to the hiring of Frost, who gave him the chance he needed. In his third year playing at UCF, Griffin earned a starting spot and never looked back. In his fourth and last year of eligibility, UCF went undefeated and made it to the Peach Bowl, where he won the 2019 Peach Bowl Defensive Player of the Game. After the college season is finished, there is much prospective NFL draftees have to do before the NFL draft comes around in late April. There is an NFL combined pro days and individual team workouts. Only the best and brightest of graduating seniors get invited to the NFL combine. So one might think after the season that Shaquem had, he would be invited. But no, Griffin had to walk on to the combine and prove that they made a mistake by not inviting him. And impress he did. Griffin posted the best 40-yard dash time by a linebacker since the NFL started to release official statistics at 4.38 seconds. He also impressed scouts by posting 20 reps on the bench press using a prosthetic hand. Even though he wasn't projected to go in the early rounds, Griffin was still invited to the draft, waiting until the 5th round to hear his name called, going at a pick of 141 to the Seattle Seahawks, the team that had drafted his brother the previous year. His selection made him the player with one hand to ever be drafted in the NFL. Griffin made his preseason debut with the Seahawks on August 9, 2018, against the Indianapolis Colts, and led the Seahawks in tackles with 6 solos and 3 assists. He played in the last game of the preseason against the Oakland Raiders, leading the team in tackles, once again, with 4 solos and 3 assists. On September 9, 2018, Griffin was announced as the opening day starter due to the starter K.J. Wright being out with an injury. In his first regular season NFL game, he tallied 3 solo tackles in a loss to the Denver Broncos at Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado. Up to this point in the season, Griffin has started 1 game for the Seahawks, recording 3 tackles in the game, and has also appeared in 5 other games. Additionally, very popular Gillette commercial featuring Griffin and focusing on his upbringing and the obstacles he had faced had been airing during the NFL broadcast. So as his rookie season is winding down, it appears Griffin has shown a lot of promise and potential to become a star for years to come. Now that was a very special story. I knew a gal once who had the same situation. She was born and had the same thing happen to her. But I wish you could hear this girl play the organ. She was so terrific. Her name was Sharon, and I had the honor of working with her. Very, very special lady. So, if your heart is in it and you persevere, there's so much that you can accomplish. So these last 2 stories about football, I guess, football stars, you're going to enjoy. And the author is Christopher Donners. And it's called 2 Super Bowl Greats, True Stories of Patience, Faith, and Perseverance. So, if you're willing to put yourself and your dreams on the line, at the very least, you'll discover an inner strength you may not have known existed. This is about Kurt Warner. A Rage to Riches story, the story of the underdog, sports delivery, irresistible competition and thrills. It's why we watch. But it's the stories that sustain us and provide a glimpse into how we overcome adversity and obstacles to achieve the impossible. See, there's no such thing as impossible, only difficult to accomplish. While the odds were stacked up against New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady and newly minted Hall of Famer Kurt Warner, they refused to look out and instead looked inward to discover they had the belief and willpower to live their dreams. There were 7 rounds for selections in the NFL draft. Tom Brady, who only started parts of 2 seasons during his days at the University of Michigan, would fall all the way to round 6. Kurt Warner wasn't even a consideration for the draft. He would have to wait longer to become a starting quarterback in the NFL, over 6 years after he graduated from college. But somewhere in between holding a clipboard and stacking shelves at a grocery store, in these 2 men, what emerged was legendary work ethics and powerful faith. Then came the opportunity, which met the preparation that had preceded it. What unfolded were Super Bowl champion quarterbacks. One Hall of Famer and one future Hall of Famer, still in progress of shaping his legacy as the greatest quarterback to ever don a uniform. The incredible rise of Kurt Warner. I expected to play well, I expected to lead my team, and I expected to win, said Kurt Warner. On your way to your job today at Starbucks, Ace Hardware, or maybe Hy-Vee, at the grocery store, know that the work you do is moving you towards your dreams. Whether you realize it or not, you're already in the ranks of greatness. A man just elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame was once you. After being turned down from his dream job, he hit the graveyard shift stocking grocery store shelves, but he refused to let go of his dream. Kurt Warner always had to wait his turn, even in college. He didn't become the starting quarterback in Northern Iowa until his senior year. Given the opportunity to play, he shined. After going undrafted, he tried for the Green Bay Packers only to be cut. So he returned home to Iowa to stock shelves at the local grocery store for $5.50 an hour. After some time passed, Warner knew he still had a lot of football in him, and the competitive drive to keep going sure seemed more fun than putting cereal on the bottom shelf in aisle 7. So he took his talents to Arena Football League, where he had to prove himself again. He won the starting job for the Iowa Barnstormers, even led them to 2 championship games. But he wanted a crack at the NFL. His opportunity to try out for the Chicago Bears never came to pass. He was bitten by a spider, if you can believe that, on his honeymoon. The dream seemed like it may be over. Warner was going on age 27 without a single NFL play to his name. What team would take a chance on him? The St. Louis Rams opened up their checkbooks and gave him a modest contract for the 1998 season. But they sent him to the NFL Europe first to play for the Amsterdam Admirals. He excelled there, leading the league in passing yards and touchdowns. When he returned for the 1998 NFL season, Warner made the Rams, but only as a third-string quarterback. He'd have to wait one more year for the opportunity of a lifetime. Following an ACL injury to the Rams, new starting quarterback Trent Green, Warner finally had his shot. After all its preparation, perseverance, patience, and grit had led him to this moment, he took the reins of the team and thrived. Warner became the MVP of the NFL in his first season as a starter, breaking records and finishing the season as Super Bowl MVP, most valuable player, leading the Rams to victory in a stunning fashion. That was only the beginning. Warner would win another MVP in 2001, once again leading the Rams to the Super Bowl, where they just fell short, losing to the New England Patriots. Warner again reached the Super Bowl during the 2008 season, barely losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers. All 3 of his Super Bowl performances are among the best in the history. A lot of times, I find that people who are blessed with the most talent don't ever develop that attitude, and the ones who aren't blessed in that way are the most competitive and have the biggest heart. That's what Tom Brady said. As NFL executives past and present turned on their televisions to watch Super Bowl 51, they were reminded of their eternal regret. As the 2000 NFL Draft wore on and the name after name went off the board, a skinny kid from Northern California was simply waiting for his shot. All he needed was a chance and an opportunity to make a team. The New England Patriots provided that opportunity, and Tom Brady made the roster. But it seemed he would have to wait years to have a chance to start with the Patriots. He was behind a 3-time All-Pro Drew Bledsoe, who had led New England to the Super Bowl only a few seasons earlier. While technically, Brady was the 4th-string quarterback, also behind 2 other signal callers. 1 year later, following an injury to Bledsoe, Brady, who had become the team's backup quarterback for the 2001 season, was thrust into action. He stumbled at first, but matured quickly and went on to lead New England to the new NFL playoffs. Just a few weeks later, he was a Super Bowl champion and the most valuable player of the game. Alternating as starter during his college days, passed up in the draft, assumed to be a backup for a while. Brady was ready for his opportunity when it came. He worked tirelessly, had fierce competitor's attitude, and exuded remarkable confidence. He waited his turn and persevered to make the most of it. 7 Super Bowl appearances, a record 5 championships, and holding a place among the greatest players ever to live. Brady has succeeded beyond measure, not on talent alone, instead because he never stopped believing and working toward becoming the best he could be. 1 in a million overlooked. Tom Brady and Kurt Warner's high expectations for themselves superseded the low expectations of so-called experts. They had talent, surely, but talent that was not evaluated to be worthy of long-term success in the NFL. Let me let you in on a little secret. What separates the best in the world from everyone else is the attitude and the effort. These two things inside all of us that we all control. This is not a matter of you either have it or you don't. We can always believe in ourselves. We can always give each moment our very best energy and effort. Faith, hope, optimism, confidence, and persistence compromise preparation. When opportunity comes knocking, if you have utilized these powerful qualities, you will eventually meet with success. You will not be denied. Faith can be cultivated. Hope is manifested by the power of our thoughts. Optimism, a positive attitude, motivated by belief that the best is eternally yet to come. It is within us. Confidence is a byproduct of faith in ourselves, faith in others, and the belief in a power of or a cause greater than ourselves. And persistence is simply a matter of never giving up. Persistence in mind, thought, and action becomes the mantra and mindset for your cause. Preparation is truly up to you. No excuses, no magic. Patience is what holds it all together. If you're willing to keep your faith, work hard, and stay positive, you are bound to achieve marvelous things. Once you decided how to be best utilized with your natural talents, the door is never, ever closed. You can and will rise above remarkable odds to become who you want to be. So in life, success is not going to be handed out to you on a silver platter. It's going to be difficult, challenging, and exhausting beyond imagination. There'll be obstacles you never knew existed before. The only way to make it big is to persist in your endeavors and to never give up and believe in yourself. Learn to push through your greatest fears to achieve your wildest dreams. I'd like to thank our authors today for all those beautiful stories about persistence and perseverance and having the faith to believe in themselves when others didn't. I hope you learned something from these stories today, and I hope it wasn't boring with so many, but I hadn't been here to talk to you for a while, so I wanted to give you a nice full show today and something you could listen to at your leisure and enjoy. Thank you so much for being with me today at Life Treasures and Golden Moments. I hope you're having a good week and you're having a good month. And you take care, stay well, and God bless. This is Natalie Silva with Life Treasures and Golden Moments.